I'm telling you guys, this is the headline. That was a tremendous victory by the Philadelphia Eagles last night. Tremendous. Tremendous. It was an important win, and it was a tremendous win. And this one is big. Big with a capital B, big to set up the postseason. To get to 7-2, to beat that team, to beat him in Green Bay, that was huge. That was a masterclass by the defense last night. That was a huge step toward getting back to the Super Bowl. That was a huge step to maybe winning the Super Bowl. So I wake up this morning very, very happy. Now, am I 100% happy? Of course not. Because obviously there were two main things last night on the negative side offensively, but I don't want to misconstrue or forget the reality of a massive win. All right, massive. And your chance to react to 215-592-9494. But two obvious main negatives, both on the offensive side of the ball. Number one, overall offensive inefficiency, essentially the entire game. The first drive looked great. Jalen was totally dialed in. The fumble is unfortunate. I don't get on Jalen's case for that at all. You know, you're going to handle the ball that often in a season. You're going to fumble from time to time. It was a great first drive. From there, other than the two-play drive, obviously the offense stunk. We all know that. And we know that it's been a hallmark this year and for a couple years that despite all this immense talent, it feels like they've got much more offensive inefficiency than they should have. And I spread that out over a lot of players. O-line issues last night, Hurts issues last night. It's just bizarre to have that much talent and that much payroll on that side of the ball and be that consistently inefficient as they were last night and for much of this year. That's number one. Number two, as John alluded to, horrendous decisions by Nick Sirianni. Two in particular. The end of the first half, too conservative. The end of the second half, too aggressive. Too conservative, too aggressive. I mean, why when they could just have a 15, 20-yard pass at the end of the first half to get into field goal range? They're like, no, let's just go to halftime. That was dumb. And then on the flip side, on the other end, they should have punted. Of course they should have punted. Now, I will say this. Sirianni, in my opinion, deserves a little bit of like, hey, let's not come down too hard on the guy. I think he's a great game manager who managed the game very poorly last night.
Last night
Now,
at
the
all.
irony to all of this is they won, and his typical conservative nature often leads to wins, which often lead to a lot of conversation and consternation about how they arrived there. But make no mistake about it, guys, massive win by the Eagles last night. Massive. But of course, I didn't like the way Sirianni managed those two moments because on both accounts, I thought he was wrong. And obviously at the end, the best option was to punt. The second best option was the field goal, but I would not have done the field goal. The third best option, and the one he went with, was go for fourth down. And we know they've been very successful in that down the left sideline thing to AJ and a lot of third and fourth downs, critical third and fives, critical fourth and fives over the last couple of years. They've been really good on it because a lot of times you get AJ one-on-one. Been really good on it. But it was just dumb to not punt. Good punter. Make the other team go 90 yards with about 30 seconds left and no timeouts. Like, boom. It's not that complicated. Sirianni screwed that up, but they survived, and they advanced, and they got a big win. 215-592-9494. Talk to us.
Yeah, Joe, I'm right there with you. Like, I get it. There are complaints that we can have from last night there, and the decision at the end of 4th and 6 is a whopper.
Yeah.
Like, if they lose the game, we don't forget that one. But, man, styles make fights. You know, it's not like the Packers put up 30 points last night. They put up 7. Those were two awesome defenses flying around. If you just don't watch football and you tune into that game, you would say the best athletes on the field are on the defensive side of the football last night. Like, they just looked faster than most offenses. It was freezing cold out. Like, I get it. It was frustrating offensively, but to your point, Joe, they went into Lambeau Field as an underdog and won a freaking football game. Like, boom. End of story.
Well, how about this to add on to it? They've now won at Kansas City.
Yep.
They've won
Tampa Bay.
At Tampa Bay.
And they beat the Rams here.
And
they won at Minnesota, which isn't a horrible win.
Yeah, they're like an average-ish team.
And also, can we just real quick not go the whole open without saying Jalen frickin' Phillips, man?
Yeah.
What a first game. He was the best player on the field last night.
James, I'll give you another name. Howie Roseman.
Yeah, well, damn straight.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a pathway back to the Super Bowl, and you knew it was going to be tougher this year because they were going to lose a lot of talent. You can't keep it all from that team that won the Super Bowl last year, so it was inevitable to lose talent. I mean, there's no doubt they were going to lose more than they gained in the offseason, and they did, and by a considerable margin. But Howie is, and there's not much more you can do because at this point it's scrap heap, with guys, off the street essentially that are available, and they're not going to be very good. But the bottom line is he surveyed the first half of the season. He made a number of adjustments. Jalen Phillips obviously is the most notable, to the point where, it was hard for Brandon Graham to even get on the field much last night. So bottom line is, great job by Howie, just kind of massaging the roster. And I'm pumped, man. I thought that was, as regular season wins go, that was one of the biggest of the Serriani era. That was big. Now, I know we'll get into the mud, and we should, over the offensive inefficiency and Sirianni's blunders. But they won, and that was a big one.